Should be organized to session में टॉपिक के साथ आगे बढ़ते हैं तो आजकल जो हमारे टॉपिक हुआ है हाउ टू मास्टर द आर्ट ऑफ negotiation in daily life okay in this regard we can take Claudia. Hello Claudia. Hello Claudia. Today, today my topic is how to master the art of negotiation in daily life. Today. Um, for in this regard, my first question is, what is
Sorry, you've
negotiate?
cut off there. What were you about to ask me about today?
My question is, what is negotiation and why is it an important life skill? I think I should repeat my question. For question is, what is negotiation and why is it an important life skill?
You were saying you think you should. What? Go on, I'm listening.
How is negotiation used in everyday life? Okay, why do people often misunderstand negotiation? Why do people often misunderstand negotiation?
That's quite a shift in topic. People often misunderstand negotiation because they see it as a win lose situation rather than a collaborative process. They might focus only on their own interests, fail to listen properly to the other person, or make assumptions instead of asking clarifying questions. Good negotiation is really about finding common ground and understanding what both sides actually need.
What are the key principles of successful negotiation? Do you understand my question? My question is that what are the key principles of successful negotiation?
Sorry, I'm not quite following. Are you asking me to send you a question, or are you about to ask me something? Go ahead with your question, I'm ready to listen.
How can good communication improve negotiation outcomes? Why is active listening essential during negotiation? Why is active listening essential during negotiation?
Active listening is essential because it helps you understand what the other person actually needs, not just what they're saying on the surface. When you really listen, you can find creative solutions that work for both sides, build trust, and avoid misunderstandings that derail the whole negotiation. It's the difference between a deal that works and one that falls apart.
What role does confidence play in negotiation?
You were saying negotiation requires confidentiality, or were you about to make a different point? Go on, I'm curious what you were getting at.
Yeah. How can emotional intelligence improve your negotiation skills?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by Englishman intelligence. Could you clarify that a bit? Are you asking about emotional intelligence or perhaps something else entirely? That'll help me give you a proper answer.
Yeah, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence.
Right. Right. So emotional intelligence is crucial for negotiation. It helps you read the other person's emotions and intentions, manage your own reactions under pressure, and respond empathetically rather than defensively. That awareness lets you adapt your approach and find solutions that actually work for both sides.
Okay, so my next question, why is it important to understand the other person's perspective?
Understanding the other person's perspective lets you see what they actually care about beneath the surface, their real concerns and priorities. When you grasp that, you can find solutions that genuinely address their needs, build trust, and reach agreements that both sides feel good about, rather than ones that breed resentment later on.
How can asking open-ended questions strengthen our negotiation?
You're spot on. Openness and honesty really do strengthen negotiation. When both sides communicate candidly about their needs and constraints, you build trust and can work towards solutions that actually stick. It's much better than playing games or being evasive, which just leads to deals falling apart later.
What are common mistakes people make during negotiation? What are common mistakes people make during negotiation? Negotiation.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by larculation, and that's not a term I'm familiar with. Are you perhaps asking about mistakes people make during negotiation, or something else entirely? If you could clarify, I'd be happy to help.
Largulation not. Negotiation. Negotiation.
Right, so common mistakes in negotiation. People often go in without preparing properly. They anchor their positions too rigidly and won't budge. Or they get emotional and defensive rather than staying focused on solving the problem. They also sometimes fail to ask questions and just assume they know what the other side wants.
Why should you focus on interests instead of positions? Why is eye contact important during discussion?
I'm not quite catching that one. Are you asking why it's important to take notes or use technology during discussion? Or perhaps you're asking about something else? Could you clarify what you mean by eye tech?
Eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. How can body language influence? How can body language influence? How can body language influence our negotiation?
So body language during negotiation. It's crucial because it often reveals what people are really thinking beneath their words. If someone's crossing their arms or avoiding eye contact, they might be defensive or uncomfortable, even if they're saying they agree. Reading and controlling your own body language helps you build rapport and spot when something's off.
What is the difference between compromise and collaboration?
Good question. Compromise means both sides give up something to meet in the middle, so nobody's fully satisfied. Collaboration, on the other hand, is about finding a creative solution where both sides actually get what they need. It's win-win rather than lose-lose. Collaboration takes more effort and creativity, but it leads to much stronger agreements.
Okay, so how can you negotiate with family members effectively?
With family, it's even more important to listen carefully and stay calm, since emotions run higher than in business negotiations. Focus on understanding their perspective rather than winning, be clear about what you actually need, and look for solutions that preserve the relationship, because that matters more than any single disagreement. It helps to pick a calm moment to talk rather than in the heat of the moment.
What are the best ways to resolve conflicts at home?
The best approach is to address issues early before they build up, listen without interrupting, and focus on the specific problem rather than attacking the person. Try to understand where they're coming from, express how you feel using I statements, and work together to find solutions you both can live with. And honestly, sometimes taking a break to cool off before talking makes a huge difference.
How can negotiation improve friendships?
Negotiation actually strengthens French IPs because it means you're talking openly about disagreements instead of letting them fester. When you listen to each other, find compromises, and work through conflicts respectfully, you build deeper trust and understanding. It shows you care enough about the friendship to work through tough moments rather than just sweeping things under the rug.
How can students use negotiation skills in school?
That's a good point. Grad students can use negotiation skills in lots of ways, discussing workload with advisors, collaborating on research projects with peers, or even negotiating deadlines when life gets hectic. Strong negotiation helps you advocate for yourself, build better relationships with your team, and create a healthier academic environment where everyone's needs are actually heard.
How can employees negotiate responsibilities at work?
Absolutely. Employees who negotiate well can clarify their role, discuss workload when it's becoming unreasonable, or ask for opportunities they want. Good negotiation with managers and colleagues means you're not just accepting everything thrown at you, you're building a work situation that's actually sustainable and fair for everyone involved.
What strategies help when negotiating with a difficult person?
When negotiating with a key person, like your boss or a crucial client, preparation is everything. Go in knowing exactly what you need and what you can offer. Listen carefully to their priorities and frame things in terms of mutual benefit rather than what you want. Stay calm and professional. Be willing to find creative solutions. And remember that maintaining the relationship often matters more than winning any single point.
How do you handle someone who refuses to compromise?
That's tricky. First, try to understand why they won't budge. There might be a deeper concern you haven't uncovered yet. Ask questions to find out what's really driving their stance. Then see if there's a creative solution that addresses their core needs without you giving up yours. If they genuinely won't engage, you might need to walk away or involve a neutral third party to help mediate.
How can employees negotiate responsibilities at work? And what strategies help when negotiating with a difficult person?
For helping employees negotiate, create a safe space where they can voice concerns without fear, coach them on how to frame requests clearly, and support them when they advocate for fair treatment. With difficult people, stay patient and focused on interests rather than positions. Don't mirror their hostility, and look for small agreements you can build on. Sometimes getting one yes makes the next conversation easier.
Why is timing important in negotiations?
I want to make sure I'm answering the right question. Which part are you asking about? Are you asking why it's important to help employees negotiate, why it matters to handle difficult people well, or something else? Just so I give you the right answer.
How can you identify a win-win solution?
A win-win solution is one where both sides actually get what they fundamentally need, even if it's not exactly what they initially asked for. You find it by listening deeply to understand their core interests rather than just their opening position, then brainstorming creative options together that satisfy those underlying needs. It takes patience and collaboration, but when you hit it, both sides feel genuinely satisfied.
Okay. What does a successful negotiation look like?
Success means both sides walk away feeling the agreement actually works for them, not just that they didn't lose. You've built or maintained trust, solved the real problem rather than just plastering over it, and created something sustainable that won't blow up later. And ideally, you've strengthened the relationship in the process rather than damaged it.
Okay, how can you negotiate your salary confident, confidently?
Research your market value first so you know what's fair. Go in with a specific number in mind rather than winging it, and frame it around your contributions and what you bring to the role. Stay calm and professional, listen to their
Uh-huh.
constraints, and be willing to explore other benefits if salary flexibility is limited. Remember, they're expecting negotiation. Asking confidently shows you respect yourself and your work.
Okay, how can negotiation save money in daily life?
Absolutely. You can negotiate better prices on bills like internet or insurance, haggle at markets or with service providers, discuss household expenses with family to find savings together, and even negotiate better deals on big purchases. Strong negotiation skills mean you're not just accepting the first price quoted, You're actively finding ways to stretch your money further.
How can you negotiate deadlines effectively?
Be realistic about what you can actually deliver, go in with data showing why you need more time rather than just asking, and propose a revised timeline that works for both sides. Show you're committed to quality, offer compromises like partial deliverables earlier, and frame it as protecting the end result rather than making excuses. Most managers appreciate honesty and planning over last-minute scrambling.
Why is flexibility important during discussion?
I want to make sure I'm following. Are you asking why negotiating deadlines is important, or why something else we discussed matters? Could you clarify what you're referring to?
Why is flexibility important during discussion?
Flexibility lets you adapt when new information comes up or when circumstances change mid-discussion. If you're too rigid about what you want, you miss creative solutions and come across as unreasonable. Being willing to adjust your approach shows you're genuinely trying to solve the problem together rather than just pushing your agenda.
Why is honesty essential in negotiation?
I'm not quite catching that one, Shabir. Could you rephrase? Are you asking about self-sufficiency in some context or something else entirely?
Why is honesty essential in negotiation?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by monastic friendship. That's an unusual phrase. Are you asking about the importance of maintaining a friendly tone during negotiation, or perhaps something else? Could you clarify what you're getting at?
How can you negotiate fairly with children?
With children, keep things simple and appropriate. Explain why rules or decisions matter so they understand the reasoning and listen to their perspective, even if you can't always give them what they want. Be consistent and fair, let them have some control where possible, and frame it as working together rather than you just imposing your will. Kids actually respect that approach more than just being told, because I said so.
Okay, ये था आज का हमारा डिस्कशन सेशन और इसमें सब कुछ सीखा होगा एक और भी चीज़ है
All right.